Have you ever wondered how just one small change in your daily habits can make a big difference to the environment around you? Building your own compost bin at home isn't just a simple action. It's the first step toward a greener lifestyle and a deeper connection with nature. When I first became mindful of reducing waste, I realized that every bag of trash I cut down, every time I sorted things carefully, I was doing something meaningful for the planet. And honestly, that feeling is special, like you're contributing to something bigger for yourself and for the next generation. The journey toward a low-waste lifestyle isn't always easy, but each small step and each new habit brings joy and a sense of pride. It's not just about the environment, it's also about positive changes within ourselves. First, why should we make a compost bin at home? Have you ever thought that leftover vegetables, fruit peels, or even your daily coffee grounds can become a valuable resource for your own garden? Composting kitchen scraps not only reduces household waste, but also brings practical benefits to your health. When you produce your own organic compost, you reduce your dependence on chemical fertilizers, which helps protect the soil, water sources, and your family's well-being. Plus, homemade compost helps save a considerable amount of money and reduces pressure on municipal landfills. Isn't it amazing that with just a small change in daily habits, we can protect the environment and create value from things we once viewed as trash? Second, before you start making a compost bin, there are a few things you should consider. First is the location. Choose a cool, shaded spot away from direct sunlight and not too close to your living area for hygiene and convenience. For materials, you can reuse old plastic bins, large buckets, or even used foam boxes, saving money while reducing waste. Size also matters. Pick a bin that fits your household's daily organic waste, not too small that it overfills quickly, and not too big that it wastes space. And don't forget to drill small holes around the bin. Airflow is the key to proper decomposition and odor control. A friend once told me that with a little creativity and reuse of old items, starting composting becomes surprisingly easy. Have you ever tried making a compost bin from things you already have? Sometimes the simplest things bring the most meaningful experiences. Third, building a basic compost bin is much easier than most people imagine. You only need an old plastic container and a small drill to create ventilation holes around the sides so oxygen can flow and microorganisms can thrive. Then, secure the lid to keep out odors and pests. Inside, add a layer of dry materials such as straw or shredded paper to absorb moisture and prevent the pile from getting too wet. I still remember the first time I made my compost bin. I was nervous, unsure if it would work. But once I drilled those first holes, I realized that with patience and a bit of care, anyone can do it. A few weeks later, my very first batch of compost was ready, and that's when I learned that persistence always pays off. Fourth, the golden rules of using a home compost bin aren't complicated, but they do require awareness and patience. The carbon to nitrogen ratio, the famous CN balance, is like a secret formula that ensures smooth decomposition. If your kitchen scraps contain lots of veggies and fruit peels, high in nitrogen, remember to add dry leaves, shredded paper, or sawdust, high in carbon, to keep things balanced. Proper sorting is also essential. Only compost items that break down easily, such as vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, and crushed eggshells. Avoid meat, fish, and oils. They cause odors and attract pests. To control smell, always cover fresh scraps with a layer of dry materials and turn your compost regularly to help airflow. Studies show that when the CN ratio is balanced, microorganisms thrive, breaking down materials quickly and producing nutrient-rich compost. Homemade compost not only improves soil structure and moisture retention, but also significantly reduces landfill waste, a benefit you can feel as soon as you begin living greener. Fifth, common mistakes and how to fix them when composting at home. A friend once told me that during his first compost attempt, he forgot to turn the pile and ended up with a smelly, unusable mess. Someone else added too many leftovers and the compost became soggy, preventing microbes from working properly. I remember being confused once because my compost wasn't heating up. It turned out I didn't add enough greens. Have you ever struggled when trying to build a new habit? Sometimes failure is the best teacher. If you run into problems, try adjusting step by step. Add dry leaves, reduce moisture, turn the pile more often, and don't hesitate to ask questions or learn from others. Success doesn't come from getting it right the first time, but from persistence and a willingness to learn. Sixth, how to harvest and use your compost in the garden or in pots. You know, the moment you lift the final layer and see fluffy, dark, earthy-smelling compost, it's surprisingly satisfying. You can spread it around your plants, mix it into soil for flowers or vegetables, or use it for indoor potted plants. The benefits are obvious: healthier growth, vibrant leaves, better moisture retention, and sweeter, safer produce. I once watched a friend transform her small home garden in just a few months using homemade compost. Everything grew stronger and more vibrant with fewer pests than before. You can even share your compost with family and neighbors, a meaningful gift that spreads kindness and encourages sustainable living. Have you ever given someone a plant grown with your own homemade compost? It's a unique kind of joy worth experiencing. Seventh, from a sustainability perspective, composting is more than a waste solution. It's a core part of a zero-waste lifestyle. Research shows that composting drastically reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills, cutting down greenhouse gas emissions and protecting the atmosphere. A friend working in environmental science once told me that by composting at home, her family cut their weekly trash by more than half, and her garden flourished with natural nutrients. Beyond environmental benefits, composting helps protect community health by reducing soil and water pollution. Have you ever thought about how a simple habit like sorting and composting organic waste can create a huge impact for future generations? Eighth, inspiration and a call to action. There were times when I felt like my efforts were too small to matter. But then a simple habit, like separating kitchen waste or reusing something instead of throwing it away, helped me realize the value of every action. A friend once told me, if you do one small good thing for the environment each day, after a year, you've changed a whole community. And it's true. I hope you'll start with the simplest steps. Don't hesitate. Your actions matter, and they may inspire others too. Are you ready to begin? Looking back, I believe that every small step in building a home compost bin carries the power of change. The daily effort, from simple tasks to finally holding that rich, earthy compost in your hands, not only nourishes the soil, but also deepens your appreciation for living sustainably. Sometimes, the smallest act, like saving vegetable scraps instead of tossing them, can open the door to a more meaningful lifestyle for you and your community. What about you? Where will you begin your journey to protect the environment today? Maybe with a compost bin, or simply a tiny daily habit. Every action counts. Change doesn't have to be big. It starts with us, in the simplest moments. If you found these insights helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can continue this journey together, turning waste into resources and living greener every day. See you in the next video.